Testing, testing. We are live. Another live stream here on TikTok. And if you guys are listening to this on the back end, which would be on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button. Best you can, but this will be hopefully on YouTube. We'll see how it shakes out, but we shall see. But kind of a late night Friday night. Got some ESPN on in the background, hanging out. Nothing too crazy. I'll be sharing some stories and talking with y'all tonight. Things are already banging around. But if you see this, like I said, if you're on YouTube, this is a replay. Go like and comment. Let me know what story you liked from this live stream. And also, to share it if you can. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Hopefully you guys can. Just a little bit of light work this evening. Let's see if that works here. I'm going to tell y'all some scary stories and I get y'all real spooked out, like. Get y'all real creeped out. It's kind of the plan tonight. It's Friday night. I got ESPN on the background. We'll let some people get in here. Before we start sharing some stories. Let me know if you guys are coming in and out. Let me know where you're from. I am from Northeast Oklahoma, born and raised. Tahlequah, its finest. Back in the old days, Walmart would be open right now. Walmart would be open right now. We'd be able to, people watch. I'm going to switch this over. Stars in a Jar says, love the stories. 918 Tulsa here. Salute. I love it. I love telling the stories. Man, sometimes it is. I have to take a few days off, or I have to kind of space stories out, because I ain't even going to lie to y'all. The last live stream, if you missed it, it's on YouTube. My Xbox, I had nothing on in the house. There was nothing on except for the TV, and it was on mute. And my Xbox turned on by itself. And I have it set to where you can only turn it on from the button. And the controller was nowhere near me. It was weird. I started talking about LP, and that's what happened. I was like, We went another hour, but we're gonna go till my phone dies. That's kind of that's how I do it every live. Everyone's like, man, keep going. I'm like, guys, I'm on 1%. I think last live it cut off literally middle of my sentence. I was cooked. But we're gonna go as long as I can go. It's 11 Central Time. It's real spooky out. Real spooky tonight. I'm sitting in a little different spot. We moved our kitchen around. Oh yeah, there it is. So I had to cover them up, y'all. Before I start telling these stories, I had to cover them up. Get real spooked out, but I'm originally from Northeast Oklahoma, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Member of the Cherokee Nation, Muskogee Creek as well, along with a few other tribes who I don't really claim. I just got a little blood in me. You got to be a certain quantum. I don't want to disrespect anybody in their quantum. I know that's a hot topic, but live in the Tulsa area now. Just living my best life. You guys are coming in and out. Let me know where you're from. And like I said, I'm really good about this. I'm undefeated. If you give me a city name, I probably have a story for you. If you give me a city name, I probably have a story for you, especially here in Oklahoma. I appreciate the likes, Mr. Brandon Gertie. Man, I still don't even know what you was talking about when you commented. And I was like, man, I don't even know. Oh, you know what's crazy, Dustin? So I believe I have an ancestor who fought in I can't remember which one. It was against Andrew Jackson's. I don't know if it was. I think it might have been Gooseneck. I can't remember. I've read that so long ago. But he's buried out in Dustin, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. It's all right to be wrong, guys. It's all right. You just got to own it when you're wrong. But yeah, I think he's out in Dustin. I told last live stream, which is crazy. I told a Hannah story. You don't hear nothing about Hannah. 11:11, make a wish, y'all. But I told a Hannah story out of Hannah, Oklahoma, small town Hannah. I was talking to a guy who I used to play basketball with out in Marcoma, out in Tahlequah, and we were talking. I said, wasn't there a bar in Hannah? He said, yeah, man, they let anybody in there. And he's out there getting sauced up, 13 years old. Respect, though, I guess. Be able to get in there and drink like that. I had to grow my facial hair out, so I didn't have to. So I wasn't. I don't get ID'd anymore. Can't even buy cigarettes no more. If I shaved, I wouldn't be able to buy cigarettes. I got that baby soft face. But it's all that bologna I ate. It's all the bologna I ate when I grew up. Fried bologna. That's how you know you live forever, if you eat fried bologna. The train went by Marcoma or Cherokee. Yep, Yep. Man, I'll tell you what, I haven't heard much out there, but I heard it is haunted out there. It is kind of creepy. Back when I was a young guy, my dad would play up there. Oh, they call him Mr. Greenwood. If you know who Mr. Greenwood is, then I know you're a real OG. Mr. Greenwood would open up Marcoma. Mr. Greenwood may still work there. I know he runs the Cherokee Holiday Tournament. I just won't call him by his nickname. Might be a relative in here. Be like, why are you giving my dad's government like that? Because I can. No, I'm just kidding. But there's an elementary school in Tahlequah called Greenwood Elementary. I don't even know if it's still around anymore. But my dad went there. And so when he was a young guy, the Greenwood Elementary had a really nice court at the time. This is like 80s maybe, mid 80s. Late 80s, but they had a newer basketball court and goals and all that stuff. Dang, double rim. But he used to be out there. A guy named Mr. Greenwood used to be out there, and I guess he owned the courts. That's what they said. Let's see. My mom graduated from Marcoma High School. Dang, that's crazy. Man, that's so crazy. Yeah, because I know that mission they turned it into a recreational facility. I want to say up until now, Brandon, you may correct me on this, but I want to say, like I said, correct me on this, but I want to say they did have people living there up until a couple years ago. I believe. Now I could be wrong, but I remember they used to have school out there, like up until recently. Them kids all might have went to Sequoia. Now I ain't even told any Sequoia stories either. I don't have very many. I just have legends of things like that. Oh no, the dog's barking, y'all. But let's see here. If spirits could hurt anyone, there would be no white people alive after the death toll. You know what's crazy? Somebody was telling me something. Or not telling me something, but I was watching a video and it spoke to me. It said something to me. If we look at America as a whole and all the turmoil that just keeps happening, it doesn't matter. Just the amount of energy. We do this thing where we, talk about bad medicine. It is bad medicine, bad practices to do people wrong. And this person brought up, this is a non-native too, said this. What if America is just haunted or cursed by the ancestors of the natives who live here, who are alive now, and they're punishing us for the way that that we are? I thought that was interesting. I thought that was I've never in my mind thought of that, but that raises a good question. Brandon Gertie said, I went and lived at Sequoia. Man, I bet them dorms. So when we used to do Cherokee camp there, join my club, heart me. But when we used to do, thank you, Betsy. You're the best. But we used to, the dorms, I want to say were either being redone. This is in the early 2000s, but I know that they had the rec hall was being redone. This is before they built that new stadium or the new arena. Brandon Gertie said we would go in heat tunnel under Sequoia. Dang, there is one out that way? Man, I remember some of my favorite memories growing up is going to the they demolished the rec hall. Yeah, that rec hall was looking rough, man, in the early 2000s. But some of my favorite memories of Sequoia. So we went to school, elementary school at Woodall, and Woodall has a direct pipeline into Sequoia. And so we got some land where my parents live now, and then we ended up moving to Fort Gibson, that area, the Muskogee area, I guess you'd say. And so when we would go to games, my dad was so dang cheap, man. So in high school games back then, I don't know if they still do it. I haven't been to a high school game since I graduated high school. But after halftime, you could get in for free. I said, dang, my dad would be, all right, let's head out. It'd be like 6:30. So we lit, like, one of my favorite memories is when they went to state. It was, who was it? Tucson, Jeff Elizondo. I think TJ Hooper was on that team. I know Kingfisher was on that team. Was it 6 Killer or 4 Killer? I can't remember. 4 Killer was on that team, I believe. But we went to Adair, and Adair was pretty good then. Or Adair. No. But we went to Adair. We went out there, and Sequoia was playing. Man, the coolest feeling ever is when they, you know, sometimes they come out of half or they come out of a quarter, and you hear all those natives out in the crowd doing the war chant. That's a cool, man. I remember being a kid and being like, I cannot wait because I'm thinking I'm going to Sequoia at that time. And I'm like, because the athletic director for Sequoia, Louis Jackson, was my grandpa's best friend. And so he was recruiting my brother for cross country, track, and then basketball, and then me for football and basketball. And so they were, you know, he was trying to get us to come over there. But I remember being like, man, that's the coolest thing, hearing that war cry coming out of that timeout or that halftime or third quarter. And it's the coolest feeling, man. It's just like the whole place. And you could tell that them people, Horse Chief was another one. Yep, Horse Chief. I forgot about him. Dang, I used to hoop against him. You know, after he went to UC. But that was the coolest feeling, man. I remember being a kid, just hearing that and being like, all right, yeah, I can't wait for this to be me. And then we, you know, didn't happen, but yeah, those Sequoia, those are the glory days for me, man. I remember we'd be at Cherokee camp, and sometimes they'd be in the middle of summer practice, and we'd get to go in there and watch, you know, just a little bit, not long, but just a little bit. But Sammy Steele was one of my teachers at Cherokee camp. I'm trying to think of who else. Wildcat was one. I'm trying to think of a few. I can't think off the top of my head, but those are a few just came to my mind. But yeah, those were the best times, man. I remember having so much fun. And then, dang, don't even talk about football. We'd be cracking skulls, man, behind the end zone over there right off the hill. So if you guys have been to Sequoia High School, back then they used to have a hill that used to go down and it'd be flat, and then the football field. Dang, they're right there in that little, 10 yards maybe. Be cracking heads, man. It was the funnest time. And then then all my buddies went to Sequoia beat Keys 56-7. God. Man. And then all my buddies at Woodall went to Sequoia, and I went to Fort Gibson. And so we played them, I think, twice. Once in middle school, I know for sure. We got beat by like 5. And then me and my head coach got into it when I was in high school, and he benched me for that game. And Sequoia had basically their entire game plan to take away the top half, because Sequoia at the time played a matchup zone. So yeah, I'm over here just yapping. Dang, Woodall Wildcats forever. Let's see here. Boswell, yep, Boswell, Chad Stevens, man. I ain't heard those names in years, but yeah, man, Tahlequah is my hometown. I miss it. I miss going to college there. I miss being there. My uncles. I have two uncles that still live there. My dad forever. You know, another hot spot was El Zarape. El Zarape, man, Chef's kiss, y'all. If you ain't know about the Zarap, then you ain't an OG. Salisbury said when you pulling up to WinStar. You know what, man? I'm so sick of WinStar taking my not WinStar, but casinos taking my money. Casinos, man. I went to the Hard Rock. What was it, like a month ago? Took everything I owned, man. It's cold blooded. 86 said, "How old are you? Were you trying to get information off me? Here, I'll give you my social." No, I'm in my early 30s. I was in elementary when all those guys were. I was in elementary at Woodall when all those guys was playing. MDF said Southside. Oh yeah, Southside. Man, you know what Southside used to have? I want to say it used to be called Southside used to be called Rising Hoovers, I believe. If I'm wrong, but I think that's the Southside that I'm thinking of. But yeah, they used to call it Rising Hoovers is what they used to call it. They used to do like a little man. I used to beg my mom too. I'd be like, please, let's go to Rising Hoovers. If that's where MDF, if that's where we're both talking about. Southside sounds familiar too. But yeah, man, 86. I'm just messing with you. I'm in my early 30s. I hate saying that too. I feel old. We got Brandon in here, 87, graduated 87. That's a young man right there. That's a young guy. But but yeah, 51. Hey, 20 years older than me. No, that's cool though. But yeah, man, I remember those days. We go say, man, let's go to Rising Hoovers because a guy that I went to Woodall with, his parents owned that. It was like a little burger joint. It's like Dairy Queen, but it was like locally owned. And we go in there and get a cone, and they dip it in the chocolate, and they let it dry. And then I would beg my mom to go to that. God bless, I'd beg. But I hope everyone's doing all right on this Friday evening. Dip top, yep. Oh man, chef's kiss. MDF said graduated from Woodall too. Them shakes were bomb. Yeah, I'm telling you, no one talks about Rising Hoovers. I ain't heard that name in forever. Or Southside, man, chef's kiss. That's like those. It's like those nostalgia. And you know what? It's so funny. Like my parents were like in their early 20s, so they were probably like, man, this place is cheeks. Like this place is terrible. But my kids love it, so whatever. It was like $1 for a dip top, like 50 cents or whatever it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, Woodall has a lot of creepy stuff too. You know, I've told a few stories. If you want to hear a Woodall story, we'll get to 5K. I'll tell y'all something. Dane Brandon, Del Rancho, famous steak sandwich. It was crazy. I lived where I grew up in that trailer park behind Del Rancho is where I lived. That's where I lived. I lived right behind Del Rancho, so we was always at Del Rancho. If y'all remember T-Bones, let's not even get me started on T-Bones now. That where the red barn is. Don't even get me started on that. I'm not saying I was there, but I'm not saying I wasn't there. I can neither confirm or deny my appearances at that place. But so if you ever hear me talk about the corner store, the Phillips 66 that's on the corner is my corner store. And you know that main road going into Tahlequah is busy. And so me and my brother, we ride our bikes up from behind the trailer park that was back there. It was called Ross Trailer Parks. That's Trailer Park Trash. That's all right though. I've upgraded. I'm just greasy now. But we'd ride our bikes up that little hill, and on the left-hand side used to be like a nature reserve thing where conservation, and there are beavers out there too, big beavers. But we'd ride our bikes up to this corner store and be stealing slushies and whatnot. Be taking them for everything they got in that store. Just tearing it up. But Woodall. One thing I miss, I wish. So like so Woodall is like a multiple state champion in football. My class was the first ever football class. We were so bad, man. We played Rocky Mountain out there, kind of headed towards Stillwell Elementary School. They had some Titans out there. God, they was running us over. I about knocked my buddy out in practice one time because we didn't know how to hit. We just put our heads down. I heard getting neck injuries. But yeah, Woodall days are fun too. Track meets, man. We'd have Lowry. We'd have Norwood. We would have. I'm trying to think of who else. Shady Grove. Where else? Ten Killer. Briggs. I'm trying to think of where else. I'm missing a few. But we'd have a few of those schools come out. So if y'all knew any of those schools. Zion, Marietta. Oh, don't even Zion. I hated Zion. I hated them, man. They was not to be played with out there. Rocky Mountain and Zion, man. I hated them. God. Only reason why I hated them was because they always they had beat us down, man. Their coach. I believe their coach. Now I could be wrong, but I feel like one of their coaches ended up coaching at Stillwell. If my memory serves correct. I never. It's so crazy. You know, it's just how small. But it's always funny. I have people, oh, you don't live here now. It's like, yeah, I don't want to live in Tahlequah. I'm sorry, I don't want to live in Tahlequah. I've lived there and went to school there. I know everybody. I had to get out. I had to spread my wings. I had to overtake Tulsa. It hasn't happened yet. It almost did. Nah, I'm just kidding. But we're going to be telling scary stories. I'm just chatting it up. Everybody in the chat. In the chat, whatever you guys want to hear, scary story, what topic, put it in the chat. I'll talk about anything within reason now. But like I said, I'm from Northeast Oklahoma. I may have to hold on a second, y'all. I gotta let this dog out. This dude's crazy right now. Well, he stopped. If y'all can hear my dog in the background, he's a Great Pyrenees mixed with something. He's a monster. Here he comes. You can hear him clacking. But yeah, any stories y'all wanna hear, topics, you name a town, I'll have a story for you. We're almost at 5K. I'll tell a Woodall story for those Woodall people in the chat. That's crazy. It's so insane to me how many people every time I mention Woodall, like I have a Woodall hoodie and a Woodall shirt, and I've had people be like, "Oh, you Woodall? How you know about them?" It's like I went there. They're like, "Oh, really? Me too." It's like, what year? Okie Loki says, "Oh, we breed Great Pyrenees as farm dogs. They're the best." Man, he's the biggest baby I've ever seen, man. I just don't get it. I mean, his bark, so we had some fiber cables coming. What is it, buddy? What? He's got this big baby eyes. But we had the fiber cable for Wi-Fi coming through the backyard. I felt so bad for the dude laying the fiber cable. So I didn't see him back there. He didn't knock on the door, didn't do anything. And so I just opened the flies all around. God bless. Stinking. Bologna meats. But the fiber guy, I didn't see him until after I let what? He's getting mad at me. But the fiber guy was back there, putting it in the ground. I opened the door. I have never seen a dude. This dude was like 5'3". He literally runs at a dead sprint, puts 1 foot on the fence, and this is like a privacy fence. So this is like taller than me. It's like 7 foot, 8 foot, like really tall. He puts his foot on the piece of that wood and just jumps over the fence. And he took off after that guy. He was not having it. Anybody in his yard, he don't like it. And his name is Tato. Anna Tato. It's short for couch potato. All right, we hit 5K. So I used to have a buddy whose mom. It's driving me crazy over here, just whimpering. All right. So I used to have a buddy whose mom worked at the school. Come here. You're all right. Sorry, y'all. But I used to have a buddy whose mom worked at the school, and she was staying late one night. And it probably wasn't like super late, but like it was wintertime. It was a little chilly out, so you could tell the time was changing. And so we used to run around that entire school, but the only place we would never go was down. So like Woodall has a playground out front. You'll see it. But then if you go next to the building, there is a tunnel that goes down. And it's pitch black. There's no lights back there. Now my chocolate lab is sitting here. But so we are running around. All right, y'all, I'm about to pause this real quick. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I got to let these dogs out. They're driving me crazy. Come on. Man, dog farts just be stinking. It's like old bologna meat. So my chocolate lab was sitting here farting on me. All right. So, I used to have a buddy. Mom works at the school. We'd run around and like, we always played. I know, they'd be bad. Them dog farts, man, hit different. That's bad, man. But anyways, so we would always run around. We had this game, and it was like tag, and I can't remember what we called it. It was like home base type thing. And the home base was always the fence pole next to the, at the time it was a pre-K or kindergarten building. And there was this pole that was like a connecting to the fence. So that was the home base. And I remember being it and then tagging my buddy. And so I'm like running. I can see him. He's chasing somebody. So I'm like, I'm going to home base. I'm going to be safe. So I get there. People start showing up. There's like 4 or 5 of us. Maybe if that. And everybody's standing there except for him. And, you know, we're all like waiting. And it's like 10, 15 minutes. So like, we started getting kind of nervous, like maybe he's, you know, I don't know, somebody took him or something. It's before cell phones. And all of a sudden he comes running up and he's all out of breath. And we're like, man, what's going on? He's like, oh, I was trying to get one of y'all. I just missed y'all. And we're like, dude, everybody's here. And he looked around and everybody was there. Well, he said that if you guys, Woodall, how it used to be, is the front, there's a walkway that has Woodall schools, and then there's like a walkway up the side. And then if you go down the side of the building, there's another playground. Then you go back around, it's a little kid playground. Well, when I tagged him and went back, he followed through at the time it was like the 2nd through 5th grade building, and then it was like 6th grade was over here. But he followed through, and then by the cafeteria, he came out, but then he saw someone go towards like the little kid playground. So he chased him. And he said he got like really close. He said he looked like somebody, because it's really dark out there, so it's really hard to see. But he could see someone running, so he's chasing them, and he goes to grab him, and he just misses him. All of a sudden, he realizes that like, oh, he's been chasing this thing, and he was going back towards. So when you come out by the cafeteria, you go up the hill. There's the main gym. Well, he went by the preschool, which on the other side, you can get to the other side of the gym at the time. There was an opening there. Well, he realized that he was way back on the other side when he was chasing this thing. So then that's when he comes back out through the opening by the cafeteria and sees us down by the fence, and that's when he comes running up. So he was chasing somebody that wasn't there. I don't know. But yeah, he was gone like 15 minutes. Like everybody was waiting on it. It was weird. That's a Woodall story. That's out of Woodall, Oklahoma, elementary school. Another weird time was when like I was older. My buddy, the same buddy, his mom, like I said, worked at the school. So this is right during the time that they were working. They were just starting, or they just built the brand new arena they have out front. And we were playing in the old gym, and it was basically there for PE. And it was just me and him, and I'm getting a drink, and I'm kind of waiting on him. And I swear to you, I thought it sounded like somebody was walking down, because those old buildings where it's like, as if someone was walking with, what do they call those, like dress shoes, the little clacks of the. And I remember looking at him and being like, "Oh hell no! Like, we need to get out of here, dude." And like, especially in that old gym at night, there's one light. It's one red light over like the other opposite basketball goal. And I remember we would be back there just kind of messing around, waiting for people to show up, play basketball. It's creepy in there, man. But like you would hear people walking around, or like one time, like we thought we saw someone walk by the thing, by the front entrance. It's a creepy place at night. MDF says Woodall at night is creepy. Yeah, it is, because there's hardly any lights out there, especially back then. There were hardly ever any lights. You had like one main one, like right over the basketball gym entrance. Then you had one like over the cafeteria, and then you had one kind of in the corner. But once you hit that back side of the pre-K, where they, where like if you, like where the bus drivers would basically go up the hill, come back, and then come back to like pick the kids up, and then they would go right out that main gate. It's creepy out there. Walked by the thing, indigenously, yeah, literally. Walked by the thing, went to the left, saw another little thing over there. Dang, we ain't be talking about it right. So yeah, just went over there to the left, saw something, got kind of scared, walked away, then came back because I thought it was just crazy. But yeah, Woodall is creepy. But also too, when you go up the hill, you see some grass, you went too far. If you see the fence, you went too far. Raggedy, what's going on with you? That's that Raggedy Muff. Thank you for the roses, Raggedy. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite insults, especially when I'm trolling somebody. Be like dead serious. Be like, it's Raggedy, bro. And then they like just brought some brand new shoes too. That was like one of my favorite things when talking trash in basketball. Especially guys that be like really trying to like dress the part, like with the shooter sleeve. If you wore a shooter sleeve, which a lot of Indians do, I ain't gonna hold you. That's our thing, is shooter sleeves. Or here's another one, the leg sleeve. Both of my buddies who I hoop with wear leg sleeves. Brother, just wear longer socks. What's a leg sleeve for? It ain't holding nothing. Ain't nothing there. Ain't got no legs. Got chicken legs. But that's how we be ragging. If y'all saw my post the other day, that's how we be ragging on each other. We be talking about each other like, oh no, like, oh man, I just bought these brand new, LeBron, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, hey, all right, bro. Yeah, you all right. Yeah, I'm a millennial. Was you in the double sock? No, I was never in the double. I would never disrespect myself in the double sock. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I would never disrespect myself with the double sock. I was more of the guy that wore the black Nike socks until the hole at the bottom of them, and then I might double sock. Because back then, Nike socks were like a delicacy. Early 2000s, delicacy. Okie Loki said, "Yeah, I definitely am a millennial native because yeah, we be worried about the leg sleeves." Or another one too is the headband. You got a bunch of native dudes that have the long hair with the headband on. It's always a Nike one, and it's always to the side a little bit. It's never straight. It's always to the side. but the braids be hanging off the back. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't even be lying like y'all ain't know who that is. But that was another. Oh, or another one too is the wristbands, but not quite on the wrist, just like right here, like right here. Oh, you know you was styling out, just right here. Another one too is, and this is how you know that they wasn't a hooper, is when they had the wrist or they had the what was it, the sweatband on the calf. That's how I know you ain't hoop. You got those little, what do they call them, like little bands on their calves. That's how I know you ain't hoop. That's how I know you couldn't get down like I could get down. Like, we in the same league, but we don't ball the same. Because, like, I didn't need to show up with any accessories. I just cross you over, hit a 3 in your eye, res ball style. Or I'd pull up from, like, deep, let it go. Yeah, they not that ball life. Nah. It's not it. That was one of my... Yeah, too pretty to ball. What are you doing? Wear your ankle socks. What are you doing out here? I wore low-top sneakers with the black Nike, folded down a little bit. Now, I wasn't up to my, like, calf. Folded down a little bit, just perfect. No shooter sleeve, and a long sleeve T-shirt with Nike shorts or and one shorts. And one shorts. That's another one. That's how I know you could hoop, if you wore and one shorts. Just keeping it 1,000% with you. That's how I know we in the same league, but we don't ball the same. If you wore the and one shorts, I knew you could hoop. I knew it. And I went at you. I took you down. One of my favorite things too, though, was like the guys with like the little fingers, like little finger, like taped up fingers. Like bro, who throwing the ball at you that hard? Who are you hooping with that's throwing the ball at you hard that you're jamming your fingers? Like, there's no touch. And also, you especially if you're playing 5-on-5, you always had that one dude that's just playing defense way too hard. He couldn't hoop, he couldn't shoot, couldn't do anything else, but he played defense extremely hard. And he was a little athletic for himself. We always had that. And you always had the guy who thought he had handles but didn't have handles. And you also had the guy who, before Steph Curry, he was Steph Curry, and he would just let it go. I miss hooping. I was playing in Stillwell. We made it to the finals. I had one leg. I was dragging that leg, man. I had basically, I didn't tear my Achilles, but I basically, I don't know if it's like it was basically bruised on my Achilles all the way up to my calf. And I played the whole time. MDF said, "Which one was you?" I was the guy that would tell you, "I saw your girl in the stands, and I'm gonna make sure that you leave and her look at you different." I'm that guy. Like, I'm going out, I'm dropping 25 to 30 on your head. Your girl's in the crowd. I know she in the crowd, and I want her to look at you on the ride home a little bit different. Like, you can't hoop. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. And especially if I knew your girl, I'm waving at her. "Hey, you doing all right? You doing all right?" I give her a little thumbs up too, like this, like pointing thumbs up. And if she did thumbs down, thumbs up, then I'm like, all right, yeah. And then you hear later on they've been fighting. I don't know about I wasn't blowing kisses now. That's crazy. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I have seen that. I've seen guys have a good game. Because I'm not going to lie to you. When your girl is in the crowd, there's a battery in your back that just takes it up a notch. Like, when Goku went Super Saiyan the first time is what you do in the first half when your girl's in the crowd. I've seen a guy blow his girl a kiss. I was like, what? All right. And then here's another thing, too, especially playing at Marcoma in Tahlequah. In the league, you could play 4-on-5. And the most embarrassing thing that can happen to you is when you get beat 4-on-5. I have beat people in 4-on-5. Like, I have had 4 players and beat them. I remember just getting the head nod when seeing people we knew on the res. Yeah. But I'm also like, I'm really petty too. Like, I'll tell you a funny story. There was a guy. He wasn't really that great, but he could shoot a little bit. And I just kept talking crazy mess because I knew his girl, and his girl wasn't his girl. I'll just say that. She was in them streets hitting it hard in Tahlequah. And, I said something to him about, I said, all right, brother, you need to chill out for someone takes your girl for real. I said something along those lines. He was probably 5'4", wasn't very strong. I worked out every day. I ran every day. So I was in pretty decent shape. I'm a pretty strong guy. I'm walking up to check ball up top. I felt his little arms wrap around my arms, and he tried to put me in a full Nelson. Are you kidding me, brother? You going to try to put me in a full Nelson? So when I felt his little arms wrap around try to get me in a full Nelson, I just slung him. He looked at me like, you ever look at someone who just like has tears in their eyes, they're not gonna cry but they're about to. He tried to put me in a full Nelson. I said, brother, no. Slung him off like, get off of me. Who are you? You're 5'4". I am almost 6 foot. I'm gonna lie on you. I'm gonna lie on myself here. I'm 5'10" without shoes. But with basketball shoes on, I'm 5'11" and almost 6 foot. Yo, be lying on. Hey, I know some of y'all out there lying on the Tinder bio or the Bumble bio, whatever the online, the Facebook dating. I know some of y'all on Facebook dating right now. Y'all lying about that. Yeah, he had them like teary eyed, like I killed his dog or something. I felt bad after though, because he was a nice guy, but he was getting on my nerves. And I just was like, and I'm a different person on the court than I am off. I still talk trash, but like I don't like when I'm on the court. It's basketball, but when he did the full Nelson, and this fool got banned for like a week. And I looked at Mr. Greenwood. I said, "What's going on here, Mr. Greenwood?" He's like, "Nah, man." He's like, "All right, we'll get him out of here." He said, "I'm gonna catch you outside in the parking lot." I said, "All right, man. Let me go ahead and win this game. I'll get out of here. We'll see what's gonna happen." So I did just that, and he was not there. And I'm not even saying I'm fighting like that. I'm not even saying I'm rugged like that. But brother, you had teary eyed trying to fight me. You was fighting for something. So he might have won. He might have got me. I don't know. We'll never know. He's a good guy though. I see him every now and then. He never brings that up though. He always just daps me up and says, "How you doing?" But you know what's weird, though, too, going back to Tahlequah for me, is that I knew everyone who played basketball. And so when I went and played in the Cherokee Holiday last year, it was like a homecoming. It was like a homecoming. It was weird. It was so strange to me. Because, like, I didn't, like, when you talk mess to people and in a basketball, like in a friendly kind of way, like, I don't really, like, look at these people as, like, friends. It's people that I've rubbed shoulders with. But it was weird, man, because like I had a lot of people hugging me. It was really strange. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everyone's like, man. Now people was calling me fat because the last time they saw me, I was in the best shape of my life. Had muscles. Like they was like, dang, you fat now. I'm like, all right, chill out, y'all. Chill out. Hey, I'm Husky Harris now, y'all. So y'all might get me this time. It's funny though. It's a good time. I'm just going on. I'm telling these like random ass stories about my basketball days. If you guys are just joining, but it's funny. Now I ain't gonna sit here and lie like I ain't had my ass busted in basketball. But at Marcoma, definitely not. Absolutely not. Raggedy said you bringing some stuff up for me. Hey, It's just fun, man. It's fun to reminisce and talk and just talk mess. It was fun. Like I remember, like I'd be going, I'd have college classes in the morning, and I'd skip the afternoon ones to go hoop for like 7 hours straight. Come home and just be stunk. Be the stinkiest bastard ever, man. I'd be raggedy for real. But good days. Hey guys, let's get this up to 10K and I'll tell y'all a story. But I gotta go let these dogs in real quick. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's get adjusted here. But I hope everyone's doing all right on this this Friday night. Now, I usually don't do this, but I might do it. Does anyone want to come in here and tell a story? We'll do that. I might open it up. Let's see here. I don't even know how to do that. Might have some conversations here. Let's see here. I'm ignorant, y'all. Trying to. Oh, here it is. Go ahead and request. Yeah, if you guys want to join and come in and tell a story, just talk. Go ahead and request if it's allowing. All right, here we go. Hope y'all ain't gonna wild out on me now. I haven't done this before. I have not opened it up to people. But if you would like to come in and tell a story and talk, but only for a little bit now. This is my show. I can't have y'all coming in here taking it over from me. Nah, I'm just kidding. But if not, it is what it is. But it's I haven't had too many creepy things happen as of lately. I've kind of been very very careful. I feel like I went down this really deep rabbit hole when it comes to the astrology girlies. Like I'm not an astrology girly, but they're turning me into one because there's so much it seems like it's going to happen this weekend, and I'm just like, man, if y'all gonna let it fly, y'all gonna let it fly. All right, I'm gonna accept this. Don't be wilding out now. Don't be wilding out. Oh, he's gone. He said, oh, he actually accepted it. Oh, no. But yeah, I mean, my conspiracy mind over the last probably week has been just taking off. Like, I just really, truly don't even like, I don't really want to talk about it, but it is very interesting. You know, with the guy that just was shot, and then there was a guy in 2020 that was killed. They both have the same birthday, which is insane to me. I think Greta Thunberg has the same. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, you know, the Orange Man, you know, had the AI video. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm not really a political guy. I'm not going to sit here and scream my politics to you because that's really not my game. But as someone who is just an observer of weird things, that is weird to me. It's very off. I've been seeing billboards all over Tulsa. It's a little strange to me. It's like Martin Luther King died again, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. But I think one thing, too, that I think, you know, as just someone who is It feels like we live in a matrix or something. No, I mean literally. I mean, I feel like we do. Like man, I went down a long rabbit hole one live stream, but like we live in this. It's almost like I believe we live in a simulation. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even gonna hold you. That's what I believe because there are certain things if you recognize pattern recognition. If you have that, you start seeing, especially stuff in the Middle East. You're like I just read about that literally yesterday when it came to the stockades in Fort Gibson or the reservations out west. And also they were in stockades too before they got on their reservation. And you look at the ghettos of Eastern Europe. It's like a big replay. And I just think we live in this simulation type thing. And I'm almost kind of wondering too if this is like the little season people talk about. I did a show on this. I think it's like episode 99. The latest episode. It was a couple months ago, where I talked about basically in some books that are not put into the Bible that are out there that are legitimate and authentic, that they already kind of believe that Jesus came back. Like he already came back, and for 1,000 years they had the saints were in charge basically, and then now we're in the little season, and the little season to me makes a little sense, but it also makes me think too is like, okay, then who are we? People being born into this season, who are we? This whole time has just made me feel very like I've been really thinking, and I've been watching a lot of history. Like I think one thing too that we have channels like called History, like the History Channel. We have the Discovery Channel, but they don't talk about history. It's all history that's just like bunk ass history. Like it's not even like real history. Like they started when they realized when Vikings took off. That's when the actual history was not being shared. And like even the Discovery Channel, there was a documentary that came out in the early 2000s, and I've talked about this before, but a guy actually found and saw that there were undercurrents of water underneath the water, which would make us seem like we are in a bowl, like a fish bowl, and that it's blocking us from going further down into the ocean, which is strange to me. But what's crazy about that guy just up and died like a year later. Maybe not even a year later, like a month later, probably. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Is it Dela? But Dela says us natives know when we see fake stuff. For real. We have a long history of watching. We live in an evil world, and the Bible tells us the entire story. But like, here's another Dela. Okay, gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. But I mean, and that's one thing about the Bible too, man. It's like theologians who live by it. Like I've watched a lot of podcasts with theologians talking about how they came in to be a theologian as a firm believer in Christianity, and then as they read the Bible, studied the quote unquote banned books, and they're like, I don't know if I believe this after all. Like they become agnostic because of it. It's a very interesting thing to see someone who is so well studied in a certain place and just be like, yeah, I don't know what I believe now, because they've researched it. And a lot of people too, like if you guys have watched every single post-apocalyptic movie when it's regarding a cult, like they tell you out loud that if you follow that, you're just a follower. You're just stupid. Like the movies tell us this. Like I just watched a show called Helix. There's a guy who is a cult leader, and he literally says, "I am the one true immortal," and people believe it just because something happened to where it was believable. Like it's insane to me. And I'm not really talking about any political group. I'm just talking about in general. Like we do this thing where we see the truth in our eyes. It's shown to us. And we go, well, but it could be this. Like I hear it all the time telling stories to people or getting sharing my stories here on TikTok, people say, well, I lived here 30 years and I haven't seen it. And I'm just like, it's probably because you don't want to see it or it's not meant for you. And I think a lot of it is they don't want to see it. MDF says living in the Truman Show. Is it that egregious? Maybe. I don't know. It's very interesting. Trent Davis says the firmament. I believe in the firmament. There's just so much. There's so many things that I think I believe in, but then like I get more information and it changes. So the firmament is still there for me, but it is interesting to talk about. Rag said that's not suspicious. Dila, thank you for the follow too as well. But like I'm just a regular guy who just yaps. And like I'm watching right now, like I'm going to recommend that you guys go and pay $5 a month and get PBS. If you're from Oklahoma or in your area, like we have OETA is our PBS channel here in Oklahoma. I'm not gonna lie to you, I got really kind of mad. Like when I watch things, I get emotional. Like I feel it. Like I feel what I'm watching, especially when it comes to documentaries about things that I care about. I genuinely care about. And I was watching a short documentary from OETA from 2012 about the state of Sequoia, and that's one thing that I get very frustrated when I've had non-native friends who just kind of shuck off natives, like I remember it's not like super vivid, and I'm not saying I'm like a victim or anything, but I just remember very like short moments of just like being shucked off for like oh, it's just some crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying, type stuff. But like there's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt, who was very beloved in the cryptid community as the first president to acknowledge Bigfoot. But he said something about us native that literally, I literally got so mad inside of me. Like not outwardly, I'm not. I'm straight faced. Like I'll be straight faced and be angry. But I was like, basically, here's the last part of the quote is the most vicious of cowboys still have more morality than the average Indian. I'm going to say it again. The most vicious of cowboys still have more morality than the average Indian. That's Teddy Roosevelt. So as you learn about Teddy Roosevelt in Oklahoma, he had his hand so firmly grasped on Indian territory at the time of Oklahoma's creation. And I get so like I was like watching this, I'm feeling all types of ways. Because especially here in Oklahoma, if you are from Oklahoma and you're hearing me talk about this, but Teddy Roosevelt told the 5 tribes that were here that moved from the southeast to here, the tribes went and got their own economy, had their own judicial systems, had all of this stuff in place because they saw what the white man and the Europeans had, and we modeled it. But it was a more fair and judicious system. One thing that drove me absolutely insane that Teddy Roosevelt told those 5 tribes that if you come up with a constitution and you get the people's vote, we will bring it to Congress and we will ratify it and you will become the next state in America. All while he's in Washington talking with, and I can't remember the guy, they called him the Iron Fist, the Speaker of the House. I can't remember his name offhand. But his nickname was like the Iron Fist of Congress. He was the Speaker of the House. I can't remember his name. Go look it up. You might be able to find it for him. Or if you can put it in the chat. But he tells him, he says, well, we're never going to ratify this. He said, because the problem becomes Indians will vote
democratically. And if we ratify Oklahoma in the same breath, because at the time, the state of Sequoia, which was going to be the Sequoia was going to be the state that the 5 tribes that moved from the southeast here to Oklahoma were going to be called, and half the state would have been Sequoia. The western half, Oklahoma City, and out the Panhandle would have been Oklahoma. And Roosevelt said, "Well, I can't give 4 seats to the Democrats." Teddy Roosevelt is a Republican. He said, "I can't do that. We need to become one, so you can only get 2 votes, and it's going to ruin." Because this is right after the Civil War. This is like the aftermath of the Civil War. And one thing that really made me mad about this is Teddy Roosevelt, the 5 tribes and some delegates from Washington came down, and they met in Muskogee, Oklahoma in August of 1905, 1906. They all met in Muskogee, Oklahoma. They came up with a constitution. They had the delegates from Washington that said, if you send this forward right here, right now, we're not going to vote yes, because you included black people and women. And so the 5 tribes took it out. And they got, everybody voted yes. There were disagreements on committees, but other than that, it got sent up to Washington, and guess what? It was the quickest vote ever in history. They struck it down. Congress did. But Teddy Roosevelt told all those tribes and all us Indians out here that, oh yeah, you guys can have your own state because blah, blah, blah. Whatever the reason, he said. And it had historians from Muskogee Creeks. It had Choctaw. It's on OETA, PBS, and it's called The State of Sequoia. You might be able to find it on the PBS channel. But that really made me mad. I'm just like, I get it. People love him for his Western expansion, but all in all, he really changed the fate and the history of natives. Because what's crazy is when Oklahoma became a state in 1907, it might be 1906, whatever, 1907, 6, whatever. They took exactly what the 5 tribes did, stole all of the language and all this stuff, and used it and sent it up to Congress for Oklahoma to become a state. It's crazy. It's maddening, but it is what it is. It's history. I mean, I think a lot of times that history is not going to be told because that's just how things are. Trent says, F. Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, I would say that too. Parker says, are you from Tulsa? Yes, I am. Tulsa area. Sage says, good evening from South San Diego. What's going on out there in South San Diego? Do y'all got anything creepy out that way? We're just talking tonight. I can tell some spooky stories, but we're just kind of hanging out, letting wherever the night takes us. MDF says that's insane, and Dila says it is so upsetting. It is, and you know what's crazy too? In the same breath, if you're out in Arizona and you're out in New Mexico, a lot of Navajo, a lot of different native tribes out in those 2 states. He told those native people out there, and like I said, I don't know their history. I just know what this documentary said and what I've read. But New Mexico and Arizona, Teddy Roosevelt said he would not allow them to become. That would have been a full state. So all that land would have been a full state by its one state. And then later on, they ended up making it 2 states. So it's crazy, man. It's just how little small things become snowballs, and then now we're here. Trent Davis says all presidents are Freemasons. Dang, here's another crazy thing. The wife of the guy that got shot, she was wearing a big old G ring. If y'all know what a G ring is, it's a ring that has a big old G on it. And if you know, you know. But I thought that was interesting, too, about my conspiracy mind was rolling. Joan says, yo, what's going on with you? I hope you're doing all right. We're just in here talking, maybe telling some stories. I just got done talking about the state of Sequoia. what is that? So it's a ring. It's a big old diamond encrusted ring with the letter G. And Trent, if you go back, scroll just a little bit up, he talks about. He just used the word. I ain't gonna use it. Them people make me a little nervous. Oh, I'm not even looking at that. I'm just out here talking. I'm just up here chatting it up, talking away. Yeah, Trent, that's what I'm saying, man. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about the TikTok guidelines, and there's something to that. Oh yeah, if you guys want to come in here and tell, I'm sorry, Raggedy. I was confused here. I was in the middle of talking. I read your comment. I was like, my brain was like the Raggedy, the Gov, and the guideline. The TikTok guidelines they're cooked, man. They're cooked. I read a little bit of it, and I said, oh no, it's about to get bad. But yeah, if you guys want to request, we could. If you want to come in and tell a story. Now, if you're gonna act crazy, I'm gonna boot you. I'll get you out of here. But if you want to, you can request. Come in and tell a story. Yeah, I'm such a weird history person too. Like, there should not be knowledge that I'm like, hey, yeah, that's cool. Like, I did some slight light reading. I'm not gonna say I went deep into it, but like light reading on Irish history, especially during like the centers conversation that was going on, and like a lot of that was like it's like crazy because with Christianity, and like I said, if you're a Christian, I'm not. If this does not apply to you, then this is not for you. But like, it's just crazy that the way that happened in Europe. It's just I don't know why. I just went down a rabbit hole one day and started reading stuff. Trying to. Kelly Redcorn says scariest Honka story or Honka experience you had. Now I've told this on a live stream and I'll tell it again here. But last time I had my buddy in here and he added some more to the story. But scariest Honka story I've ever experienced was the time I went to Merle Park. It was during Halloween time, I believe, best of my knowledge. And we went in the trails. And there's another story that I've told, but there's basically if you hoot multiple times, I think it was three in my story, but if you hoot, you may get laughter, you may get, so you'll get something basically. So I'm with myself, two guys that are 6'5", 6'6", 350 pounds plus, big old guys. My buddy Aaron, who's been in my lives before, and I can't remember who else was there, but I think there was like one or two cars of us. Can't remember. I went there so many times at night when I'm not supposed to. And so we get off the bridge, we're coming back, weird stuff kind of happening. We might have seen kind of a weird cat form into something bigger. It was weird. So I had the weird feeling. I said, well, before things start getting real spooky, we need to get out of here. So I was like, well, I'm with a bunch of non-native friends. Let me see what I can do here. We walk across the bridge and I stop and I say, hey guys, I've told this story. I've told the story before. And so they already knew. So I started hooting. So I hooted the first time. They're all like, hey man, chill out, stop. I hoot the second time. And they were like, oh no. Hey, you need to stop. Like, this is getting scary. The third time I hoot, I'm getting goosebumps, but, talking about this. But there was a roar that I've never heard in my life. I've been around big cats. I've been around hyenas. Now, obviously, in a zoo setting, in a reserve, I've really big into Turpentine, which is in Eureka Springs. Been donating to them. Been to a place out in Tuttle that had lions. And the roar that I heard after that third hoot, I'll never quite understand what that was. I've had people tell me it was Bigfoot. I've had other people tell me that it's, skilly. I've heard, I'm going to say this word now. Hopefully nothing happens. Stikini. I've heard that. But I don't know what that was. And I remember basically blacking out. When I heard that roar, it was like my mind went like off. Snapped off. And I came to, we were halfway to Muskogee. And I remember sitting in the middle of these two big old boys being like, dang. And I remember kind of like looking around. And my buddy, Aaron, was in the front seat. And he had this look on his face like that was something he had never experienced before. And I asked him, I said, what did it sound like? I heard a roar. And he goes, man, it was gnarly. Like, I don't really remember. Like, he's like, I remember. And yeah, I'm getting goosebumps talking about that because I stopped ghost hunting because of that. I stopped going out and doing stuff because of that. Because my grandpa always used to tell me, if you go look, and this is for anything in your life. If you're looking for it, it's going to find you. And you may not like what finds you. You know, I see a lot of ghost hunters out here doing things that I would not. But I was always told that, and I did that. I went and tried to find the things that maybe I shouldn't have found. And a lot of times it always ended up something how I planned it to be, you know. But I stopped ghost hunting after that. I went a few times. I went to Hominy with some guys. I went to Pawnee. I did a ghost hunt around the Pawnee College, and I walked through the IHS in Pawnee. I did that a couple years ago, but that's the last time that I've done it. But that's the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Now I've had a lot of stuff that made me like. I've had some scary moments on different levels. I had someone stalking me when I was in Houston. I was in the Woodlands, a little bit outside of Houston suburb, the Woodlands, and I had been walking back from the bar by myself. My friend wanted to stay back. My friend wanted to stay back at the place we were staying, so I was like, well, that's cool. And I felt like I don't know if maybe women have felt this way. I mean, definitely have felt this way. But as a grown man who can handle, I can get my way out of situations. I'm not going to just let things happen to me. And that's probably one of the times I've ever felt like I was prey, to be honest with y'all. I was in Houston. I was walking back from the bar, and there were people walking by, walking in the opposite direction, people walking near me. But I kept feeling like somebody was kind of catty-corner to me. So I was walking down by this kind of ravine. It's like a little waterfront type thing. It's a park, basically. But it's like a waterfront thing. And as you walk, there's a path that goes around. So the path is here. But then there's a little path that kind of veers off here and that meets back in this wooded area. And then you round the corner and you get back into the apartments. So I'm walking and I'm kind of bebopping along and I'm going under this bridge and I get something, my spidey sense hit me. The spidey sense hit me. And I get this spidey sense when I know something ain't right. I've always got it. And I've always sometimes went against it. But I'm walking and I kind of look out of the corner of my eye and I see somebody kind of pacing as if they're like trying to catch me as I'm rounding that corner. Now, we were going to the Houston rodeo that year, so I had boots on. I didn't take my boots on, didn't put my tennis shoes on. So my running was not what it should have been. And I'm walking, and I can feel someone like they're inching closer, like they're there, like I can feel someone there. But I'm not looking. I'm just kind of looking out my peripheral, but I can see someone pacing on that long walkabout. So we're hitting. So I'm here, and we're about to meet paths. So I walk up a little faster, and I see a couple up there. So I kind of stopped and, you know, basically was like, acting like I wasn't. And I looked, and that person had stopped too. Now the problem is it's dark, and I can't see exactly who it is because I don't want to just turn all the way around and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Even though I probably should have. That would have changed. But there was a couple up ahead around right before you hit the turn, and I just felt off about this. So I kind of looked and I saw that person. They were kind of milling around, like acting like they were walking back the other way. So then I took off running. And I took around when we got into the wooded area, I took the turn and I just took off. And then I kind of like hit the corner and kind of went into the woods. And I saw that person kind of like, they weren't running, they were like jogging past me. And I was thinking like, okay, that's weird. So then there's like when you went off in the woods, there's like a little area where you can kind of track back and get back onto where the apartments is. So I do that. I get back and I look, and this person is looking for me. And so I like literally had a one key that it was the weirdest feeling of being tracked like that. So I then round the corner, find the door that I'm supposed to get into, and if the freaking thing won't. This is like a horror movie, y'all. Like for real. I remember hitting it, and it was like, man, please. So I kept running, went down, hit it, opened, and then I went up the stairs, and I saw someone run by after, like as if they were like acting like I wasn't, like they weren't just chasing me. Scariest moment. That's one of the scariest moments I've had, and that was in Houston, Texas. Now I've had some, like, I feel like I've met the devil before too, which is another crazy story. But yeah, that's my non. Kelly Redcorn said, I used to work security at Duck Creek, and I swear we have LP on cameras. Yo, I don't doubt it. Because what's crazy is some people probably bring their LP in there to try to win. We trying to get that jackpot on somebody. Turbo Clutch says, I've experienced some scary stuff in Eufaula, Oklahoma. Eufaula is one of the most haunted and creepiest towns in Oklahoma. That's certified. But yeah, if you want to send me, if you guys have stories you want to send me, shoot me a direct message and I'll get with you. Trish says the dead ones are scary, but the living ones are worse. For real though. Jones says, forget that. No, man, that was. I mean, literally, that was one. Because Houston, after that trip, I realized I probably shouldn't go back to Houston, the Houston area, because I had so much weird stuff, man. Just when I lived, like when I didn't live there, but when I was staying there, it just was so weird, man. All right, I'll tell that story at 20K likes. I'll tell the that I met the devil story. I think I met the devil. That story to this day, man, is. I was talking to my dad about that story, and he just looked at me and says, "Yeah, you met someone who's probably not here, not of this world." I was like, "Ugh." And there's some weird backstory behind that. There's details I'll leave out because I don't really like telling the details of that, but I've shared it on the podcast too as well. If you want to hear the full, like every detail of the story. I told it on the podcast. I believe it's episode Dead Man's Bed. I think is what the name of that episode is. Episode 92. MDS says, tell it. Trent says, let's hear it. Tiffany says, tell that story. We get to 20K likes, I will. I'll tell that story. Is it Rainy? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it wrong. Rainy. I'm from Kenwood, Oklahoma, and I've never really heard stories, but I get a weird feeling in Kenwood. I got a few Kenwood stories. I know that y'all had. I know out in Kenwood y'all had that new recreational facility. They saw some things out there when they were moving stuff around. I had somebody tell me, somebody who worked construction who told somebody. So it's a third-hand story, but they said that they saw some stuff out there, out in Kenwood. I've told the Wizard of Oz monkey story, and I know that out in Kenwood they have heard monkey sounds out there. I don't want to give the gentleman's name who lives out there, but he's real connected to the basketball community out there. But me and him go back and forth a lot of times. Dang, we're moving quick. 13,000. But yeah, I mean, Kenwood's really creepy. Louis Jackson, I mentioned earlier, he's from Kenwood, and he told a crazy story, like a Wizard of Oz monkey story. Trent says they had the devil come to a bar here in Denver and said he was good looking and had lots of money. Man. MDF says tell Kenwood stories until we get to 20K. I'll tell that. I'll tell the Louis Jackson monkey story. So the details on it are a little bit fuzzy for me. I've heard 3 different ways this story has been told by 3 different people that Louis has told. Now the story's the same, but they're like different people give different details, maybe because they asked a question or whatever. But Louis Jackson was the athletics director for Tahlequah Sequoia, sports, and he grew up, born and raised Kenwood, Oklahoma. And I always loved hearing him tell stories. And a lot of those stories I hate that I forgot. But one that I'll never forget as long as I've lived. Because my grandpa told me this story back when I was a kid. But then as I got older, Louis told the story again. One of his final storytelling events he had ever done, he tells the story. He was a little guy. And they were out there playing out in the yard. I think him and his siblings or cousins, or he's around a bunch of other kids, and all of a sudden he hears a kind of, y'all come in here now, y'all get in here. And he looks, and I think it was as I said, the details on are fuzzy, but I know it was either his mother or his grandmother calls him in. And so they go inside, and she says, there's something out there that y'all need to be careful of. Well, as he's going inside, he looks, and he could see something kind of hopping across the little pasture they had in front of them. And he's looking, so they go inside, and he looks out the window, and he describes one of those Wizard of Oz monkeys. He said it had like the small wings, and it had the little kind of a weird tail. He said, but it didn't dress like the Wizard of Oz monkey. He said, but it had like, a monkey, like a chimpanzee type monkey with wings on its back. And it was hopping along the pasture, and it took off. And I had talked to somebody out that way, out in Kenwood, and he was telling me that they have heard out there monkey sounds. One day he was telling me that he was with his mom, and I can't remember if they were walking or they were riding bikes or something, but they heard it outside, and they were walking somewhere or going somewhere. And all of a sudden, they could hear, it sounded like monkeys hooting. Like, chimpanzees, when they're all kind of riled up, it was like that. And he was like, whoa. And so he kind of didn't think he heard that. He asked his mom, and she's like, yeah, I heard that. And all of a sudden, you could see, I want to say he said that he saw things kind of swinging through the trees. And that might have been a different time. But I haven't talked to that gentleman in a while. I need to get a hold of him, but I had so many people reaching out, but yeah, Kenwood's got monkeys out there like that. And I don't know if people see them anymore. I don't know if it's a medicine thing, or I don't know if it's I think a lot of times these beings, these spirits, they can form into whatever you're scared of. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why people see Bigfoot. Some people see Bigfoot, other people see this, other people, I think whatever these forest spirits or wind spirits, whatever they are, they can turn into what your fears are. They know your fears, and they turn into that. And that's what you see. Maybe he was scared of those monkeys, but he always told that story, and he always said that, yeah, that's what I saw. And I remember being a kid, just mesmerized, because I'm like, I had at that time as a little kid had received so many stories from my elders and at these storytelling events, that a lot of times, like a lot of these other stories, I can't remember them. And then, I told the story on my page about remembering stories after my grandpa kind of gave them to me in my dream. He said, you can have them now. They're yours. And so I woke up and just remembered all these stories. And, verified stories from all these relatives. And I always have to ask my dad if, details on certain stories, because I get stories from people, all the time, and I always thank you. I always want to say thank you to people who do share their stories because a lot of times I may share them, I may not, and it's not. I don't. It's not. I don't share them because I don't believe you. It's just because I the way I tell stories is I read your story and I process it. I think about your story. I visualize your story. So if you guys can see me, if you guys watch me when I'm telling stories, I'm looking up and I'm thinking about the picture in my mind of what it looks like, and then I go into the story. But yeah, that's some Kenwood stories. Now they see LP out there all the time too. LP's thick out there in Kenwood. Is it Kenwood Gorilla? What is it? What is it? Kenwood? What's the mascot? I can't remember the mascot. I want to say that's. I almost said Greenwood Gorillas, but that's theirs. Kenwood. I can't remember what Kenwood's is. But yeah, they were saying the guy was telling me that when y'all was building that recreation center out there, or that facility y'all got out there now, Cherokee Nation built, that people were having things happen to them. So I'm not quite 100% Kenwood Indians, okay? But yeah, Kenwood's creepy out there. I played a tournament out there. What was this? 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe even closer to 10. And man, we was out there in the dark, man. It was like dark out there. We was out there playing in that old basketball gym out there. I was like, dang, it's creepy out here. I'm gonna get back in the gym. Dang, we had a Deer Woman out there playing. Nah, I'm just kidding. John, I want to know on thoughts on Oklahoma State. Man, I do. I love Mike Gundy. Mike. Geez, I'm gonna say it. I love Mike Gundy. Man, I do. I don't know what's going on with that program. I don't know if NIL's done it, but that was bad tonight. I love Tulsa too. I want all Oklahoma teams to be good. But when they play Oklahoma better run through them. But yeah, that's sad, man. I think Gundy's gone after this year. There's no way you can defend losing to Tulsa. Tulsa has not been good in a long time. It might be time to let Mike Gundy go, to be honest with y'all, with Oklahoma State. I hate that, man. I do. I mean, he has so many iconic moments in the orange and black, but man, it might be time for him to roll out. Driving back from Hitchta at night, we had Al with a wingspan of our van flew towards us and over our van. Man, Hitchta ain't even joking either. I have family that lives out that way. My Nana actually taught at the Hitchta school back when I was a kid. She was a pre-K teacher, I believe. But Hitchta's, man, you want to talk about desolate, ain't nothing out there. But a couple houses and a school. Rainey says a bunch of owls down there in Kenwood too. Yeah, owls too. Man, I'm telling you, man. Anything real Indian, man, you're always gonna have some. You're always gonna have some. I always say this too, or I say this quite a bit, but I'll repeat it here. Is like we left from the southeast, especially Oklahoma tribes southeast, or the 5 civilized. We just enough civilized for them, I guess. But we brought our stuff. We brought our stuff here. But also too, the tribes that were here when we got here had a lot of things too. They had a lot of stuff. Kelly Redcorn said I used to go to Grave Creek. John said it might be a little early, but who do you have winning it all in the NBA this year? I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm hoping the Lakers, but LeBron's got to go. I can't stand LeBron. I'm a LeBron hater. All right, y'all. 20K. And I'm glad that y'all are getting arthritis because that's my favorite part of doing lives is causing pain to others. I'm just kidding. Nuggets all day. See, I've been a Laker fan since I was in diapers, So the Nuggets have been cool, I guess. But I appreciate y'all hitting that like button for sure. But yeah, LeBron got to go. I'm sorry. LeBron James needs to retire, get off the Lakers, and I need them to get a good draft pick. And we need another Kobe, man. We need someone who's an anchor for the team. Rest in peace, Kobe. That's my goat. Him and Jordan. Jordan's my goat. Kobe's my second goat. All right, we're at 21. I was just lying. We're gonna do 30K. I want to make sure. I want to inflict pain on y'all's fingers. Then I want y'all to do it with your toes. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy. How many chips do you think Kobe would have won with the current team if... Oh, 0. LeBron shouldn't have won the one that he won in the bubble. The bubble championship to me doesn't count. It doesn't count. It does not count. I know people want to count it, but if I'm a player, all the players that went off in the bubble have never went off since. Like Tyler, or what was that guy's name? Warren from the Pacers. He went off during the bubble. We ain't heard from him since. LeBron is buns. Yeah, I'm a staunch LeBron hater. Staunch. LaFlop James over here. I got another nickname for him. I call him, but I ain't gonna say it on here. I don't know what's sometimes I don't know what gets hit and what doesn't, but all right, y'all. Y'all want to hear this story or what? Y'all let me know. Do you think Bronny will become anything now? No. He's too small, not athletic enough for the NBA. That's a G League guy. All right, y'all want to hear the story? All right. So this happened in the outskirts of Houston. So we decided to go to the Houston Rodeo for the first time ever. And this whole time, man, so when we got there, we drove overnight. We got there like 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm like dead ass tired. I'm like, I need to go to bed. And so I'm picking my bags up to through the house, and I notice a man standing there. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And my friend whose house family we're staying in, she goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, my cousin and his wife or girlfriend and their child is staying with us. So I'm like, oh, God bless. We got a baby here. I'm in my early 20s. I'm not trying to have no baby around here while I'm trying to, do my young people thing. So they like, hey, we're going to take the side bedrooms over here on this side of the house. We're going to give you the master bedroom over here on the other side, on this other side of the house. Cool, no problem. I'm going to fast forward through all the weird stuff that happened throughout the week. And if you want to hear those stories, you're going to have to hit 30K. So we fast forward. This is like Thursday night. We get there Saturday morning, I believe. Sunday morning, one of those days. The Houston Rodeo is about to start. So we're all outside. We're hanging out. The cousin who's staying there is by this point wilding the hell out. Dude is going crazy. All right, John, have a good one, man. Hope you have a good night. So he's wilding out. He's going crazy. I just cannot believe it. I'm like, what is going on? There's too much stuff happening. Like, this guy's a wild boy. So we're all hanging out. And next door, the house next door, we hear music playing. We're like, okay. Let's wild out. Let's see what's going on. So we go over there. Her cousin goes over there, and he's like, hey, what are y'all doing? It's a massive ass party. There's like 50 people in this house. We go in, and on this table, I see a pile of cocaine. And I'm like, holy shit, this is insane. Beers all over the place. It's a mess and a half in this house. And I remember me looking at my two friends. I'm like, I'm not, because I'm not really, I've never done drugs. That's not been my thing. I've told stories about my cousins and family, things like this. So I don't do any of that. I don't like being around it. I'm good. So I go outside. I'm sitting out there by myself, and I just started a little fire, and I'm kind of hanging out. And I look over, and I'm just kind of watching, and I look over, and there's this man talking to my friend's cousin, this wild boy, and they're chatting it up, having a good conversation. Like it seems like they know each other, and I thought they knew each other. This man looks like Rip from Yellowstone before Rip from Yellowstone. So this is like 2014, 2015, 2013, around there somewhere. So 2015 is when this happened. So Yellowstone wasn't even a thought. So I'm sitting there and I see him look at me and he walks over and he has this look on his face. This is a detail that I haven't really like thought about, but like I remember him just walking over and he had this kind of like air about him that I was like this seems like a guy who's very confident and he has like this swagger about him, but he's dressed like Rip from Yellowstone before Yellowstone, like black. He's wearing black jeans, boots. And he has the same facial hair and he has black hair. And I'm like, we're sitting there talking and I remember sitting there and like, I'm just like, not really sure what to even say to this guy. And then he starts like, hey, I know you. I'm like, what? And I'm like in my head, like it kind of shocked my body. I remember feeling that sensation of like when someone says something you're not expecting and it kind of shocks you for a minute. And I'm like, what? He said, I know exactly who you are. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And he's like, well, and he starts reeling off things about me. Like where I lived, what my college major was. He started naming off family members who I have never said that I'm related to publicly at all, to anyone really, besides, family. He said, oh, I know this person. He's like, this person works at this place, and, you're related to this person. And just starts going off and telling me things about myself that I don't tell. Like, it's not something that I'm like I'm not one to overshare anyways, unless I'm doing this. But, like, in my daily life, I'm not really saying anything. And so I'm sitting there listening to him talk, and I'm getting the feeling that like, okay, there's something off about this guy. Like I'm not really sure what's going on. And so like I said, he's revealing details about myself that like not a lot of people know, and like talking about people that I know or that I knew, and like in my family. And he kind of had this look on his face like he had the one up on me, kind of like when someone kind of has this like people call it shit eating grin, but like he had this look where he was like, yeah. And I said, so what's the point of this? Like, why are you doing this? And he's like, well, he's like, I want you to, and I can't remember how he said it, but basically he kind of asked me to go with him to a Masonic lodge. And I remember he goes, yeah, he's like, I know that there's a lot. He's like, I know where you live and I know exactly where this lodge is. He said he gave the address of the lodge, and I knew exactly where this lodge was because I had driven by it a lot because I worked on the west side at the time, Muskogee. And he's like, well, he's like, I want to invite you to this. And I'm like, to what? And he's like, you'll find out. He's like, but I want to, you need to do this. And I'm just like, it was a weird conversation. And like I said, in the episode, there's a lot more details. I'm just trying not to give a bunch of here on TikTok and things, but I remember him he kept talking. Like he just kept talking. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like I really honestly don't remember what he was talking about, but I know he was talking about the Masons. It was like my mind, once I got talking to him, it was like he had me kind of in like in a trance where like, I remember certain details. I know he was talking about the Masonic Lodge in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And he wanted me to go there. But the details around that, I just don't remember. It was weird. Like it was like he was the only person in the room. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt. Not the weirdest feeling, but it was just really strange. And Joan, it is so it's next to I want to say it's the First Baptist Church on Broadway. It's a big stone building. It has no windows. It's just a big gray stone building. You have seen it. If you've been on Broadway, like you're headed west on Broadway, it's on the left hand side. You won't miss it. But he gave the address and all stuff, and so I looked over. I like kind of broke his gaze, and I looked over, and I saw my friend coming to sit down. So I'm looking at her, and like I'm trying to get out of this conversation because like this conversation is freaking me out. Like I'm getting weirded out. Like I don't people do not make me uncomfortable, but this guy did. I'm a people person. I know how to talk to people. I know how to get out of weird situations. I know how to do all this stuff. But like this guy made me uncomfortable, and I was like, "Whoa, this is not like this is somebody that knows things that I don't know how." So I see my friend walking up, and the weirdest thing ever, he gets up as she's sitting down. So like he gets up and goes around the chair and sits down. She doesn't acknowledge him at all, but he says, "I'll see you." And this was like in June of 2020. Like he was like, "I'll see you in June." Basically the date. It was like June 12th or something. And so she sits down, he gets up, and he walks away. And I said, "Did you see him?" And she looked around, and I looked, and he wasn't there. And like I said, the guy that just got up, did you see him? And she's like, "No." "What guy?" I said, he was a cowboy looking guy, black shirt, blue jeans. She's like, "That's a lot." And she was like, "Well, that's a lot of people here." And I'm like, "You didn't see the guy that just got?" I was getting kind of mad too. I was like, "I don't understand how you just didn't see this guy get up." She's like, I don't know what you're talking about." And I'm literally like in my mind, like, am I crazy? Like I literally like I just recently told this story on the podcast, but I literally just did not understand why she didn't see him. So I'm thinking she's like way too drunk and she's not like aware. But like literally, we would have been able to see him because where we were sitting, there's a walkway that's nothing. It's basically just a walkway back to the porch and then back to the side of the house. And there's nothing there. Like she would have been able to see this guy. So her cousin walks up, and I look at him and say, "Hey, who's your buddy?" Because I'm thinking like this is like they're pranking me. I'm thinking at this point they're messing with me. So I'm like, why is your buddy saying these things to me? And he says, "What buddy?" And I'm like, all right, I'm getting gas. This is before gaslighting was a thing, I think, or rage baiting. But I remember getting so mad. Like I was like, why is nobody seeing this guy but me? Like, am I going crazy? Like I literally thought I was crazy. Like for a long time, I never shared this story except to my dad. My dad was the only person I shared this story with up until Dead Man's Bed, the episode. And like I really didn't like talking about this because it sound crazy. I literally sound crazy. I don't know how else to say it. And so I'm like, dude, that's your buddy you were just talking to. He was a cowboy in a black shirt, blue jeans, and boots. And said he had a hat on, like a felt hat or whatever. That's another detail that I forgot. But yeah, he had a hat on. And he's like, "No, dude." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so I'm thinking, all right, this is crazy. And so I ended up going to bed, and there's a lot of other stuff that happened. And now we hit 30K. I'll share those here shortly. But the story, so this was in spring break, so this had to be March-ish, late March, like right after my 21st birthday, I believe. So June rolls around, and something in me told me, like, I want to meet this guy at this Masonic Lodge. So like my head was telling, or my heart was telling me, you need, like, no, like this doesn't feel right. This is not something that's normal. But my head was like, I need to know. Like I need to know. So I drove by the Masonic Lodge and I drove into the parking lot. I remember just kind of looking, and I didn't see any cars there. And so I just kind of kept going on. I'm like, oh, maybe he forgot. But the weirdest thing ever is that he knew exactly where my parents lived. He knew exactly like just weird things about me. It was the weirdest thing. Like he knew things. But he also gave me, and this is something too that I don't really like sharing, but I'll share it here. And I may take it out on the YouTube. But he kind of gave me a warning about Masons. Like you need to. This is why I don't talk about them. To be honest with you, this is why I don't like talking about them because of this time. He said I would not talk bad about the Masons. I would not say anything, especially about the Masons. And he named off a few places that I, at the time lived. And he says they know, and I just want to let you know that. And then continue to talk. And it was the weirdest thing ever. And I can't remember. I just like I said, I just can't remember what else he talked about. But yeah, it was it was one of the most weird encounters. And I told my dad about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I think that sounds like the devil to me." And my grandpa always told me this too, that you're going to have choices in life. You're going to be approached by someone offering you things, and you need to pick the correct path. Like I remember my dad and my grandpa telling me this growing up. Like they are like it was almost like I was one of this too. So Dad, if you're hearing this is just a thought. I'm not saying it happened, but I know my dad watches my stuff. But I don't know if he has been approached, but I know my grandpa was approached by medicine people or a guy that practiced those things when he was a younger guy. So I don't know if that's just a thing that happens to us. I don't know. But it was the weirdest thing ever, and I think I met the devil. Yeah. That's scary too. Now that's scary in a different way to me. Other than physical scare and Ashley, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. But yeah. It's a crazy world out here. I guess since we hit 30K. So that Houston trip, man, the first one, so we did 3 trips to Houston. And like I said, Ashley, thank you for the roses. We did 3 trips to Houston 3 years in a row. The first one was me and 2 of the girls that I was friends with. And then the second one was the same. I believe it was the same. And then the third one was just me and my friend. And the first one, I honestly thought this I knew something was off about this house. I just could feel it. I could just feel when I entered the house, there's something here, and it's just off. So I'm staying in this master bedroom. This is on Monday, I believe, or Sunday, and nothing's going on, and I walk into I'm skipping. I skipped ahead. So when I walked into this master bedroom, there is a plethora. I'm talking maybe 20 dolls sitting in random spots all over this master bedroom. Creepiest shit I've seen. Like the glass-eyed doll that you think that it can blink at you. Creepy as hell. So I remember just oh man, this is bad. This is bad. I literally told her, I was like, why did you put me in this room? And she's like, well, you can change. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, this might be good, a good story, something might happen. So I kind of stayed, in the room. So I turned all the dolls around, flipped them to facing the wall. Didn't want to mess with them. Yeah, dead silence. Literally that doll. That's literally what they were 20 of them all over the room. And so the first night I turned them around. I went to bed. I have to have it pitch black. I don't like sleeping when there's light. I'm a light sleeper in that way. So I'm I needed everything pitch black. And I need the door closed. So everything is perfect. Go to bed. I wake up, I don't know how early it was. Might have been 6:30, 7. I'm an early riser too. And I look and the bathroom light is on. And I'm like, what the hell? And I look and all the dolls are turned back around. So I'm like, all right, they're messing with me. They know I don't like these dolls, and they know that they're pulling a prank on me. Everybody in the house. Her crazy ass cousin is doing this. So I'm like, all right, guys, this is weird. Don't do it. It's weird as hell. If you're coming in here and pranking me, quit. And they were like, we didn't go in your room. I was like, all right, stop lying. So I'm thinking it's just they're just messing with me. This happens every single night, and by by Thursday night, I just stopped doing it. But like the light would always turn on, and I would be wakened by the light being turned on. So I'd wake up and be like, "Why is the light on?" There was one night. There was one time where there was weird. Like all the towels were in the bathtub, like full of water. The weirdest thing, like weird. Like I remember going to bed and like everything was fine, but all the towels were in the bathtub, and the bathtub water was full, but all the towels were in the tub. Weird as hell. So I'm thinking like, man, there's something off. And like being the whole time, her cousin is losing his mind. This guy is wilding the hell out. I'm going on rides with him. Like he's taking me in this like not even street legal car to like the store, and then he's like going 20. He's driving so fast on these windy roads. I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna close my eyes, and if I make it to the store, I make it to the store, and if I don't, I don't. And his wife or girlfriend is getting on to him because like he doesn't have a license because he's got like 9 DUIs. He like wrecked his other car. He had like a pistol in the car too. So like this dude is in legal trouble up to his gills. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is getting out of hand. So as the week goes on, weird stuff keeps happening. And that final night, or I'm sorry, things keep happening. So when we're leaving, I said, man, there's some weird ass shit happened all week. And she's like, yeah, I was going to tell you this, but I didn't. But the bed that you're staying in, my grandpa died in that bed. So I was like, you mean to tell me that all week I stayed in a dead man's bed? She's like, yeah. I didn't want to tell you. I was like, that's effed up. Oh, that's jacked up. Yeah, Trent, that's jacked up. She's like, yeah. She's like, but like, so like, one thing that she was telling me too after the fact, she's like, my grandpa was very meticulous about his house, and like, she's like, I know he's here. Like, I know I could feel him. Like, I know he's here. And the grandpa did not like that cousin because that cousin was a knucklehead, like just ridiculous how crazy this guy was. And so she was like, I'm thinking that he was like turning up the energy on stuff because like of the cousin. And like you just happened to be like there. I was like, and also too, he was very meticulous about his wife's dolls, her grandmother's dolls. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense because I was messing with him. Like I kept turning him around. But yeah, so that first Houston trip, man, that was ridiculous. Let's see here. Well, I'm glad y'all like that. That I don't know what that was. It was devil or I don't know what it was, but it's one of those weirdest things. Trent says you have bloodline in the Masons. I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard anything, but I've had a lot of. There's been a lot of medicine in my family. Like I don't want to tell my dad's medicine stories because like that's his stories. Lily, me is it? Yeah, Lily, Mimi. Thank you for the heart. Me appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't want to tell my dad's stories on that because like that's his stories and like they're pretty personal. But like there were some things like that happened when he was a baby that I think still kind of affect us, especially with medicine. Medicine doesn't go away. It's always there. It's energy. It's always there. Now some of it sometimes it does, but I think what this happened. But I don't want to like I said I don't want to give too much information, but. Medicine's always been a thing with my family. Like it's been in it. Joe says, "All right, brother, I'm gonna sleep. I'll see you next time." All right, you have a good one. Get your lay your what do they say? Lay your weary eyes to rest. Close them just like this. and just fade into the abyss, into that deep pool of water. Is that my, what is it, the ASMR? Oh, dang, I'm getting the dogs riled up. My bad. All right, chill out, chill out, chill out. You're fine, buddy. Dang, I started doing that, and he's all freaking out now. But, yeah, it's a lot of creepy stuff. A lot of creepy stuff. Oh, it's 1 in the morning, y'all. Jeez. Nah, you can sleep. Lay your weary eyes to rest. Just lay down. But yeah, it's something, y'all. It's something. I don't know. I'm just a regular guy. There's nothing. I have feelings too. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do, but yeah, my life is. I've always been someone. I don't know. I've always been in the right place, right time. Like I've told stories on the lives before. So if you ever want to go see an old live stream on that TikTok live that you missed or you only caught part of, they're on YouTube. Go subscribe. I hit over 1,000 on there finally. Thank you so much to people who have subscribed. But like I just have always been in the right place, right time. I've always seen some like weird, crazy stuff. Like I can't describe it. I've always been in the mix. Trent Davis said, "Are we gonna pull an all nighter or what?" No, man. I'm probably gonna go until this phone dies. You know the rule. Come on now, Trent. Trent's always trying to get me to stay up all night, man. Would there be anybody watching but you, Trent? Would you be the only person watching? If we were up at like 6 in the morning, are you still gonna be here? You're just gonna be here all night, just vibing out. If we get to 40K, guys, if you guys want to put some stuff in the chat of what you want me to tell next, it's spooky. It's spooky hours right now. I don't know if I'm going to go till 2, but we're still going. My phone was fully charged, and I was like, "Well, let me come on. Let's see what's popping on TikTok Live." But I have not been looking at my requested. So if you've requested and want to come on tell a story, you can. If you're going to be ignorant, then you're probably going to get booted. But other than that, if you want to come in and tell a story, I'd love to have you on. I'd love to have you join my live. Raggedy says, "Yeah, go till it ain't go no more." Literally, going until the wheels fall off. We're gonna go till we can't go no more. Trent Davis says we need more lives too. Man, killing me, Trent. Yeah, I try to go live Monday. I try to do it on Fridays for sure. Ignorant. I love that word, ignorant. That's ignorant. Being here acting ignorant. But yeah, if you want to join in, if you're someone who wants to tell a story real quick and hop out, you can. Hop in, you can. Whatever you want to do. But I appreciate those who have given gifts. It does mean a lot to me because, like I said, I'm just a dude who tells stories. But dang, Raggedy just be in the room laughing, huh? People are like, "Hey, who's laughing?" And here just cackling. You know what's crazy? So what's insane? So like I've talked about like raven mockers before, which is like a witch, Cherokee witch. And I was telling my wife, she knows I'm a little spooked out by these things, but she went and bought a raven mocker painting from a Cherokee artist, and I like when because a lot of times I try to do things from memory, and like my memory's wavering, but like there's on the back of this painting, it had so much information that like I had forgotten. I'm like, and it like made my mind remember, and like I just was like, man, this is awesome. This is like a painting in the early '80s. So like the Raven Mocker, it's not on the internet, but like it was really cool. But yeah, if you guys want to come in here and tell a story, you can. I think I got them. I got it open. Yeah, I got it open. So if you want to come in here and tell a story or something, we'll do that. I'm going until my phone dies. Kinsley's mama, thank you for following me. I appreciate it. Trent said just cackling. Yeah, just be, dang, just in there. It sounded like what is it? Just cackling. And they're like a witch in there. In sing song, I'm just a dude. Just telling stories. Dang. Yeah, I don't want to break out my karaoke voice right now. It's resting. I haven't been karaokeing in a few months. I had to. I went to Deb's Action Lounge in Broken Arrow like a couple months ago, and you know what's so funny? I sang, so I knew the guy who does KJ, but like it's so funny. I had that guy KJ before, and he said, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And I said, "Sir, you may." This like I'm just kind of being funny. I'm like, "You might." He said, "Were you over at Double R?" I said, "Golly, hey, I was in there being greasy in Double R." Ah, and they're trying to call me out in front of my wife like that. Dang. John Heavy Runner, Hoka hey, will cry in the flesh. I am in the flesh. I am here. Am I? Okay. Do your Danny McBride impression. That's me, brother. I'm here all the time. Just five and out. There's no impression. I am Danny McBride's cousin. I am him. He is me. We are we. Come on now. So you know what's crazy? I've beaten the allegations though. I haven't heard anybody say nothing. You know, I've beaten the Danny McBride allegations. So for those that are not active in my lives or you're new, they say that I look like Danny. Like, so I had longer hair. If you guys have seen me, I had longer hair, and the way that my hair sat, I looked like Danny McBride straight on. Which, hey, I am his cousin. I've been on Pineapple Express. I was on Eastbound and Down. He sent me a check. It bounced, but like it's cool. I don't think the signature was right, but yeah. No, I'm just messing. But I'm trying to beat those allegations. I call me the Indian Danny McBride. All right, Trent, this is crazy. How you just gonna throw this out here? All right, guys, I'm gonna. Hey, so with Native people, we do rag on each other when things happen. But Trent's gonna come in this live and comment that today is my dead cat's birthday. Brother, how many years ago did it die? If it died like a couple days ago, then I'm sorry. I'll take that back. But how long ago did this cat die? How long? Because do I miss my cats from my childhood? Yes. But not that much. Like I don't remember their birthdays. Are you a cat guy, Trent? Or are you a dog person? I guess that's pretty self-explanatory since you're celebrating your dead cat's birthday. I'm roasting. I'm in here roasting, y'all. You know what's crazy? I had for my first cat's name. This is how rezzed out my names are for my cats. My first two cats, my brother and we both got cats at the same time. Mine cat's name was boy. His cat's name was girl. That's how rezzed out our cats were. I have not seen Pineapple Express in years. But I thought she was being serious. I was like, man, he's in here. He's in here dropping bars for his dead cat. Johnny Morgan says, have you heard about the thing in Oklahoma that kind of looks like a hyena? Johnny Morgan, yes. I have a post about it. That's probably where you heard me from. That post went absolutely insane. I did not realize that Anadarko people went that hard. They went that hard in the paint, but they did. Literally, I had a cat named Boy and a cat named Girl. I had a solid white cat, and we named her Snowflake. We had a cat that had white feet, and we called him Socks. That's how rezzed out my cat names are. My dad started naming them like actual people names. Yeah, Boy and Girl is crazy, I know. But that's how rezzed out me and my brother are. My dad started naming the cats like Maya, What's another one? Oh, I had a cat named Boss. He was a he was a solid black cat with a white face. I had a cat named I had a cat named Little Boy. That's how rezzed out my cat names are. Little Boy. That's a crazy cat name. And this dude was a hoss. I used to train him. I used to train him in the cat Olympics. He beat down every other cat too. I watched it firsthand. All right, Chupacabra. My cat's name is Cheeto. Is he orange? That's what I want to know. But yeah, I have some rezzed out cat names. I ain't gonna lie. Little Boy Boss, Little Boy Boss, Socks, Snowflake, Boy, Girl. Okay, I'm glad he's orange. Okay, I'm glad. I was about to be like, dang, why'd you name him Cheeto? He's pink, but he's supposed to be orange. That's crazy. Cadillac Jack. Cadillac Jack. But you know what? Speaking of this hyena cryptid, there's something to that though. There's something to that. The post that I did about it, man, I didn't realize it was gonna be 100,000 views on it because I was like, man, it's just a story that I got casually in the Facebook realm that I'm no longer a part of. But like people see it all, like people have seen it. Like I'm so like fascinated. I had someone, like, I'm not going to tell this story quite yet, but they reached out to me about their dad, and like they're basically, their dad lived at this property that was getting terrorized by something that looked like a hyena or was an semblance of a hyena. And I think he went through it for about 2 months. He had stuff torn up. Like, I'm not going to get into the story, but yeah, there's something to it, and especially out at Apache Lake. I've had a few people, share different things about Apache Lake. Like I said, I'm not from there, so I don't know. I just know landmarks, I guess. I really don't even know where Apache Lake is, but the Apache Y is another one. And people have seen there. I've had at least 10 people say that they've seen this creature out at Apache Y. Have you heard about the wild lions that supposedly been here and died out? I don't know. Maybe. You know what's crazy too is that like Arizona right now is getting jaguars. Like they've seen 4 jaguars in Arizona just this year, I think, which is kind of crazy because that might be why people are seeing the Black Panther out there. MD said 40. Man, MD, hey, I don't know. Hey, so MDF, I just want to tell you this. You're taking the mantle for Trent. Trent usually puts the team on his back and single-handedly carries us to the finish line. So you're killing it tonight. Thank you so much, MDF. I'm going to have to, let me see here. Oops. Let's follow you back. That's a real one right there. Got a single-handedly to 40K likes. Thank you so much. So MDF, what topic would you like for me to tell a story about? Dang, live ended. MDF, what topic would you like for me to tell a story about since we're at 40K? Any stories from Vian, Oklahoma? Man, I got to think about that. I don't think so, but you just never know. Beverly Cornwater, a guy who got up one night and went past a picture to the kitchen. Next day, he noticed it was a window. What? No, that's crazy. Nah, MDF, come on now, get us a topic here. What story? What story topic? Bigfoot. I got a crazy Dogman story. If you guys are into werewolves, I got a crazy one out of Canada. I've told a few Wowoka stories. I actually got someone who told me an LP story out of Wowoka. I have to reread it. Would you? I guess for 40K, do you guys want to hear a dogman slash werewolf or upright canine story out of Canada? Let me know. Uh oh, Raggedy. About time to go to bed. Those things start happening. Your bedroom door shut by itself. The door is heavy and it doesn't close by itself. Yep, time to go to bed. Time to lay your heavy eyes to rest on that one. All right, so I'll tell this, or I can tell the one out of Broken Arrow, or out of I'm sorry, not Broken, out of Bigsby, Oklahoma. I got a hyena story out of Bigsby, Oklahoma that I overheard when I used to do Uber. Y'all let me know. 40K. We got hyena story or we got dogman story. Which one y'all want? Hyena. Hyena one. Hyena. Oh, that's the same person. Well, we're looking like that's what we're going to be doing. I don't know what the hyena is. I really don't know. I don't know if it is. It could be a chupacabra, but people are seeing that this thing is bigger than a coyote. And the chupacabra stories I've heard is those. That's a smaller entity, from what I've heard. Now I'm not well versed in the chupacabra. That's some kind of down south stuff. Thor said dogman, so we're 1-1. One hyena, one dogman. Anyone else that wants to break the tie? Anyone want to break the tie between dogman or hyena story? Now the hyena story, I overheard this. All right, MDF says dogman. I'll tell both. I'll do both. I've been yapping too long. All right, y'all. So this story comes out of Canada, and this was told by a gentleman who actually worked at the I almost said River Spirit at the Concho at the Lucky Star Casino, and he reached out to me a couple of years ago, and he's still on here. He may end up seeing this, but he moved from there to Canada. And he would tell me different stories, and I have a bunch of stories from him that I could tell eventually. But this one that I always thought was pretty interesting, and it's about his wife. So growing up, she's from there. They always used to find like abandoned houses that had old things in them, like old homestead type houses out in these woods. And she'd come across this house. And like she would play in it, like that was what they did. They play in it all day, and then, so on and so forth. Well, one night she stayed out a little too late, and so she decides to go into this house to kind of look at the dolls and stuff. And she's playing, and she's just really, not really paying attention to anything around her. And she kind of thinks that something's in the corner of the room. So she looks. And she doesn't see nothing, but then all of a sudden she kind of looks again, and in the shadows she can see this she's basically can see this dog man standing in the corner of the room. And it's looking at her with red eyes. I believe it was red eyes. Red or gold eyes, but it was looking at her. And she kind of froze for a minute, is what she was telling him. But like, once she realized that like this is not something that's like supposed to be here, she took off. And like she said that it didn't chase her, but she thinks that it had been watching her in that house, and it was probably checking her out. But yeah, she said it was like a werewolf basically, which is crazy. That's crazy that people see those things. Like I said, I don't know what to think about them. I don't know if it's a genetically modified thing or if it's a natural. I know that the Egyptians saw those things a lot, and they called them basically death, the afterworld, that type thing. But it's crazy. And then the hyena story. So I was Ubering one night, real late. It was kind of later. This is back when Jinx had this 18 and up club or 18 and under club, or something like that. And well, before I accepted. I looked at it, I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. I got to go pick someone up in Bigsby. I'm already out South Tulsa. Just drop somebody off. I'll take this one. So I picked these girls up, and I'm driving down this road right off the river in Bigsby. This is in Bigsby, Oklahoma. Right off the river. So like when you come into main Bigsby, you see now on the right hand side there's like a little parking area. It used to not have that. It used to be kind of just like a little dirt path. People would park there. Well, there's a road where you take a right and you go back, and then you go back up into those woods along the side of the river. So I'm driving down this road, and I think I take a left or something. I can't really remember, but I can't find these girls. Like, they put their marker. I can't find the person I'm supposed to pick up, and because the marker is there, but it's in the middle of the road. So I'm like, this is weird as hell. I'm thinking like it's something weird's happening. So then I go on down and I loop back around and I come up and these two girls are standing in the middle of the road. And so like they hurry up and get into the car. And like I can tell they're kind of like shook. Like they're shaking. So I'm driving and like I have the music on, but I'm nosy like this, guys. I'm sorry. But I'm listening to them talk. And one of the girls is like, man, what was that? Another girl's like, I have no idea. Like I really have no idea. And like it was so like she was like describing it, and it sounded like a dog man, like I just mentioned earlier. Like it was taller, it was really big, it was bigger than a wolf. She's like, it was so big I didn't even realize like what it was. She's like it was almost as big as the car, and I'm like, what? I'm like in my head, I'm like, what? Like this has to be a dog man. So she basically said that it had pointy ears and its butt was lower, like the butt was not as high as the chest. And at the time, I don't think of like at the time when I heard the story, this is probably 2019 or no, this is probably 2017, 2018. At the time, I'm like, I don't really know like what this is. This sounds like a dog man to me, or a werewolf or whatever, or whatever they call it now, but. So I keep listening, and they're like, the guys. She's like, yeah, the guy. She's like, I'm so thankful that there's guys with her. Like, I guess there was like a party out in this clearing or something out there. And so I told this story on a podcast like years later. This is like a couple years ago, and then I had another kind of podcast guy who's a animal biologist. And he was telling me that he said that might have been a hyena. He said what you described in that story had to be a hyena. He's like, well, what we get in terms of like encounters with Dogman, the Dogman it's like a animal. Like it doesn't look like a natural animal. He's like, they might have saw a hyena, and I'm like, dang. So I don't know what those girls saw, but the way that they described it, I was like, I didn't really think of a hyena at the time, but I know that the Dogman people think that there's a hyena hybrid or whatever, or some type of something. I don't know, but those are those two stories for 40K. But yeah. Creepy. I remember listening to those girls. I was like, man, it's just weird. And okay, MDF. So that's another thing too that I've had people reach out to me about hellhounds. They were saying that could have been a hellhound, like what those girls saw, and also too what people are seeing. And I'm just like, maybe. My only problem with hellhounds is that I've only heard them in creepypasta. Now I know that in England they have a hellhound or devil dogs. But the only dog type thing that I've heard about is a thing called fire dogs, which are like, it's a Muskogee Creek thing, I think. But my dad has not really told me much about it. He just said they look like little small dogs, but they're like fire dogs, like fire. But do I believe in hellhounds? I don't know. Truck drivers see the black dog. Yeah, that's what they kind of call it. Yeah, the black dog. It's definitely interesting though, to say the least, because and that's one thing that I don't really understand. Just because you haven't seen, because I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that people tell me about, but like I believe them because why is 30 other people telling me the same story? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe it's because their frame of reference is just what they is in front of them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting sleepy. Raggedy, I'm getting sleepy over here. I might have to call it here in the next couple minutes. Unless we get to 50K in the next couple minutes, I'm calling it. I am sleepy. MDF says, "Do you also sell merch?" I do have a Redbubble account. It's redbubble.com/warcrypod. I also do have a YouTube page, Spotify, and Apple, wherever podcasts can be heard. I have those. I have 99 episodes. I am going to eventually do the 100th episode here pretty soon, and then I will do live streams on YouTube for. I will do live streams for Halloween. So go over there to YouTube, subscribe, and like I said, there'll be the 100th episode of the podcast, and then I'll have a bunch of guests lined up for Halloween. I have not at all worked on Halloween. I just have not really thought about it. I've been really more on TikTok than I have YouTube, but I try to get all the live streams. So if you missed a lot of the live stream, you can go over to YouTube and watch it. But yeah, I'm getting sleepy. My mind is starting to wear down. But like I said, if we can get to 50,000, I'll tell one last story. I'll send y'all off with something spooky, creepy. But yeah, that Dogman story in Canada has always kind of made me think. Yeah, Trent, I got a Ouija board story. I've told it a bunch. I've told it probably twice on a live stream. If you want to go catch that, I would go listen to. I'd go on YouTube and listen to it. I've definitely told multiple Ouija board stories. Not saying I don't want to tell it tonight, but I've already told it. I'm trying to think of anything fresh here. Something that y'all haven't heard before, or TikTok hasn't heard. I know I got ESPN rolling right here. Yeah, MDF. I tell a lot of stories around here in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Northeast Oklahoma. I have some stories from a few Choctaw people down south, but mainly it's kind of around here. There was one that I got from Texas from a guy who was down in Texas that I thought was pretty interesting. It was about a guy. Basically, it was like a demon. They saw a demon like while they were sleeping or whatever. The mother was like a seancer of this house, and they were staying in this pink house. The mother had some kind of eclectic design or whatever. It was kind of a weird design, but it was a pink house, and they were all standing there. And one of the guys woke up and looked over, and there was a demon over the top of one of the guys. Until eventually that guy woke up and that thing disappeared. I was like, God, I love demon stories too, man. I love a lot of those stories. Trent, hell no, yeah, absolutely not, yeah, yeah. I love a lot of those. I love a lot of demon stories. Like, I don't like them in terms of I don't want anything to come on me. Like that sounded insane. Oh my God, I don't want anything to visit me. God bless, that sounded crazy. Uh, but I'm fascinated by that. Pelagrosa, how's it going? Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're doing all right on this Saturday morning. Jesus Christ, it is late. But that's all right. We're gonna keep going. We'll go until, like I said, we're gonna hit almost 50K. Then I'll get out of here. I'm trying to think of some other stories. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a lot of fun tonight. We've had a lot of comments. You missed some pretty good stories. Go check the YouTube out. Trent said Vivacious Saturday. Oh man, y'all missed that. My swinger story from the other night. That was crazy. MDF says, "Have you ever dealt with sleep paralysis?" I have. Which that's a very long story, but I used to have these dreams, and then I'd wake up, and I'm awake, but I'd look over and I could see a shadow in the corner of my room. Share said swinger. Yeah, so I used to do Uber back in the day. I mentioned this before earlier, but I did Uber, and I Ubered a couple out of Austin, Texas. And they were in their 70s, but they were swingers, and so they were going to a swingers club in Sand Springs, coming out smelling like BO and bologna skins. They were smelling rough. Dang, Cher, you come in here? Oh, swingers? What? You was asking? Was you lurking? Sorry, I don't have nothing. I don't have. Nah, I'm just messing. But yeah, no, they were crazy. That was a crazy couple, man. They were sauced out of their minds, just getting it on. I guess I don't know, but it was crazy. Stinking too. They was stinking. Golly. Yeah, there is. I feel like there is. I just don't want to be part of it, man. Lost in the sauce. Because I think a lot of people, man, here in Oklahoma, they do that. They do this thing where they thump their Bibles, but at night they're just freaks, just straight freaks, man. Just some freaky ass people, man. Um, for the 50th, for 50,000, I'll tell y'all a. I don't know if I want to tell this one on this one, but I might. Cher said, I had a couple ask me if I wanted to be a third before. You said yes, didn't you? God. You said, hell yeah, I'd love to. Sign me up. Cher said, how'd you know? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, man. That's crazy. All right, Trent. Hey, I didn't. Hey, it wasn't me. Golly. They ain't trying to front me out. Delete them texts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. All right, everybody. Before y'all start, I'm going to have the swinger allegations on me. I don't need those. I'm happy, y'all. That's funny. But I'll tell you what was kind of strange too. I'll tell some more. I have some Tulsa stories that I can tell, but anybody from Tulsa out there still alive. When I was doing Uber a lot, I had some weird people in my car, man. Some just people just give their whole lives. Cher said, nah, but for real, this woman said her man wanted to watch me. Oh my God. All right, we getting to TikTok after dark with this right now. It's crazy. Oh man. But I used to do Uber a lot. Especially back in the day, probably 2017. Oh yeah, I'm yawning, getting sleepy over here and getting fading out. I will never be those people just fall asleep. Just fall asleep on the live, just like this, just snoring. Trent said I'm violating the community. I know I had to stop myself. But I used to do, like I said, used to do Uber a lot. And I had some weird people in my car. And like sometimes these people would just share their lives. And I had one, I don't know how this conversation even got brought up, but like this girl, she was like, I was talking to her and we were just chatting. And I said, you got anything spooky? So something happened to her brother. He passed away. and he liked to cook. And so one night she's laying in bed and she hears something kind of rattling in the kitchen, and she's like, "What?" And like it sounded like somebody was in there cooking, like they were like moving dishes around and cooking. It's middle of the night. She goes in there and all the dishes are out, like all the cabinets are open and the dishes are out. And like she just assumed it was her brother, so she said, "Hey, you can go on and go. We're all good." Kind of just talk to him. And she hadn't heard anything since. I told a story about a guy on it's on this one or on my page about it's kind of a real sensitive story, but like I had a guy who was autistic and he was telling me about his girl who passed away and how she was messing with him. Like she was real kind of abusive to him, and he would wake up and he'd feel people like someone sitting on his bed, like just weird stuff. Doors opening, lights turning on, and eventually he had to move out because she had passed away in that apartment that he was living in. And it's just a lot of crazy stuff people tell me. Like I had a guy one time. I picked him up from a hotel, and he wanted to go up to North Tulsa, but he wanted to stop at every single QT, in that area. And so I did. And our last stop was at Peoria. Um,
And hanging out, and he he's like, "Hey man, can you shut it off?" I'm like, "Shut what off?" He's like, "The app. Can you shut it off? I'll pay you." He's like, my probation officer does it all the time." I'm like, "What?" So I knew something was off with this guy. So I ended up taking him to this neighborhood up real north Tulsa. We go down this road and there's people in the street, like it's weird, man. People in the street. So I dropped this guy off, and dang, they I think I knew some of them kids that went to school. Oh no. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? We're cooked. Okay, you can hear me now. So I picked this guy up, and we're hitting every place. You hear me from the phone? All right, hold on. Can you hear me? It might be fate, y'all. Might have to call it. Can you guys hear me now? All right, sounds better. Cool. Can you hear me now? But I picked this guy up, drop him off. I get home, and this is really late, but I was watching the six o'clock news on 6, and I saw this dude's picture. I was like, "Oh, this dude's on the run." So I picked this dude up, and he was on the run. I was like, "Dang, is that making me accessory?" I hope not. Nothing ever happened, but it was crazy. I was like, "Dang, this is kind of insane." I was like, "How am I just going to be an accessory to a crime?" Because this man was stressing too. Like he was trying to be all cool and calm, collected, but nah, he was stressing. That man was stressing. All right, we're at 50K. Let's see here. What do I want to tell before we get off of here? And we will call it a night. Let's see here. Anybody got any suggestions in the chat? I'm trying to think here. Hopefully my mic sounds good. I think the battery on the port that goes into my phone is dying. Possessions. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. All right. I don't have any Crybaby Bridge stories, I don't think. I'd have to go back and look. All right. So this comes from Haskell University. It's an Indian college in Lawrence, Kansas. And this lady had reached out to me. She practices some things, and she was telling me some stories. And this story kind of stuck out to me. But she was in college at the time, and she was trying to find people to hang out with and just trying to find kind of fellowship and community. So she decides to join this church. And so when she goes there, she noticed like, hey, they're really praying a lot in this church. You know, they have a good message, but then they would keep praying. And one day there was a girl, she showed up, and they were like, okay, well, what's, you know, oh, it's a new person, whatever. And so when she looked at her, she knew this, she was kind of like something's off with this girl. So then the person that was leading this was like, hey, let's pray over this person. So they start praying over this girl. And she's like, literally, I can see her face changing. Like her face was not, like it was morphing, like it was changing in front of them. And then once they got done, she looked at her as she was leaving, and she said her face was like almost totally different. Like she didn't look the same as she came in. And she thinks that she was possessed by something. And possessions, I do believe in possessions. That's one thing I think that we allow ourselves open to things, and those things do happen to us. But I appreciate you guys hanging on. It's almost 2:00 in the morning. I did not think I was going to go this long, but it's really cool to see people showing up and joining my lives, and having a good time and following me from it. Tomorrow is Saturday, so you probably won't see any videos from me unless it's an Oklahoma football video. But other than that, if you want to send me a story, and if you're on YouTube and you want to send me a story, you can email me, realwarcrypod@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a DM if you're here on TikTok, or if you're on YouTube and you want to follow me on TikTok, WarCryPod. Shoot me a DM if you want to share a story. And like I said, I've had some really great stories from people, like really, really great stories that I'm like, I can't wait to share, but I want to maybe get some more information. And like I said, the 100th episode of my podcast will be coming out soon. It's going to be with Rod from Lodge Tales. So if you guys know Lodge Tales podcast, go check that out. He's a good guy. I have a lot of respect. I've learned a lot from him too, just in terms of spooky stuff. He always kind of talks about, different things. Trent Davis says, when's the next live? Maybe Sunday night, maybe Monday night. Either Monday or Sunday. It's kind of what I'm planning on. MDF says, I've been doing my laundry while doing and listening to all this. Mado for the entertaining live. Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you joined. I'm glad that you found me. I always say this, but I'm just a regular dude who tells stories and likes to joke around, and I don't really take a lot of stuff serious, but I do have my moments. So I'm glad that you could join me on this live. And as for me, guys, and as for you, I will see you shortly. Actually, you know what? I don't know about shortly. I'll see you when I see you. But I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next.